One of the questions everybody asks when they first get into art or when they're switching from one medium to another is, what supplies should I be using? This being especially true for painters. And today I'm going to be talking about the best brushes you're not using, but you should absolutely use. These are some of my favorite go-to brushes when I'm working on pieces, and I practically use them in every artwork that I do. Now, when I first started this journey into painting, I was looking into supplies, materials, what do I need? And it kind of got overwhelming. There was a lot of trial and error. However, I did come across some brushes that fitted exactly the style that I need and the techniques that I wanted to achieve. So I wanted to share that with you guys here today. Hopefully this helps you out along your journey and in your artwork to produce some crazy, amazing pieces. I'm trying to keep it clean. Some amazing pieces of artwork. Now, before we get into things, I'm trying to grow this channel to 5K and beyond, 5K and up. I need everybody's help by simply hitting that subscribe button and hitting that like button. That also shows me that you guys like the content and dig the content. And that also shows me support in a very simple way and to keep things going on the channel. Now, let's get into it. Now, the first brush we're going to talk about is one of my absolute faves, but also a brush that I use in every single painting. And I think a lot of people only look at using it in one type of way. However, there's a way that I found to use it more effectively. So typically when people want to do small details or they want to work small areas, they'll grab a round brush like one here. The problem with round brushes is that I find you can't get that fine point a lot of times. This is where I like to use my script brush. The script brush works perfect for fine details. It works perfect for small areas. And a lot of times when you're using the script brush, you can actually change how much paint actually comes out of the brush depending on how much pressure you put on. So even for me, like as you see here, if you press down really hard, you'll get a thicker line, but it still stays relatively thin. Whereas you can use it right to the fine point and really get that nice thin line that you want to achieve for your outlines, for your strands of hair, for any other small details that you're putting onto your paintings. And I find it works absolutely amazing for the small details, for those just subtle touches on your paintings, especially in areas with eyes. Like I said, with hair, if you're doing eyebrows, it also works great for that. Script brush, top notch. Next up, we got the oval mop brush, and alongside it, we got the round blender brush. Now, these two brushes I use in different occasions, but in a very similar way. So with the mop brush, what I like to do with it sometime is I like to use it for wet into dry. However, I find it works best with working wet into wet. So as you see there, I block in my areas and then I'll go over that area with the oval mop brush. Now, with the round blender, I find it works best when working on metallic surfaces or any other type of highlights that you need. And I like to work wet into dry. That means the wet paint into the dry painting, and I'll blend in some areas and I'll get this nice little shine type of effect that I'm going for. I find that's what really works best for this type of brush. The difference between the two is that this brush right here, the round blender brush, it's hard bristle, whereas the mop brush, it was more of a soft bristle, and that factor helps out with your technique. The next brush is the round opal brush. This is from Trekell. As with some of the other brushes you'll see here, the thing with this brush is that it's a synthetic hog bristle brush. So it mimics a hog bristle brush, but it's synthetic. So with this brush, it has that hard bristle and it's able to retain a lot of paint. What I like about this is that I'm able to use it for a very good amount of time with the strokes that I'm putting on the canvas. And also it can lay out a bunch of color. With the flat brush here, which is also this the synthetic bristle version, I like to use this for my metallic surfaces also. And depending on what type of metallic surface I'm painting, I like to use it in cases where I need to leave some brush strokes. And as you can see here with this background that I did, it left these beautiful brush strokes that added a lot of character. Next, we got one of my favorite brushes. This is the cheapest brush you'll ever get, but does the most effective job. This is a makeup brush. You can grab one at the dollar store and it works completely perfect for portraits, blending out those harsh areas and just making those smooth transitions from one color into the next. How I typically like to use this is I like to block in my colors with, let's say, a flat brush, and then I'll go in with the makeup brush and smooth everything out. And I practically do this for every painting that I use, every painting that I do. Next, what I also use it for is for glow effects. So here it works the same sort of way where I'll block in my colors and then I'll work the brush around. Keep in mind, you want to keep this brush relatively dry, especially when you're using wet paint. There you see me clean it out and then I get right back to it. And here's the final look. Next up is a brush that I don't use too often, but definitely comes in handy when needed. This is a mop brush, but this one has more stiff bristles to it. So I like to use it when I'm doing more of my street style, type of loose style art and fill in the color, have it kind of looking like clouds flowing off. I typically use it for any type of loose style painting. However, I also use this brush to do things like grass or leaves on trees or even coarse hair. So there you have it, the best brushes you're not using. I just happen to be holding my favorite out of all of them. Regardless of if you're a beginner or you're at an advanced level, all these brushes that I listed here can help you out in some sort of way. I feel even if you've been painting one style for a while, you've been painting one style for a minute and you're looking to get into something else, this can be a nice leeway into that. And also it can help you out with technique and whatnot in your whole venture. So hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you have another brush suggestion in mind that other people should check out, feel free to drop that in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for everything art, and also check out my skin mixing tutorial here.